이 당아서야 시조가 되니 주저 찾기는 고온즈그인
So we are going to begin now with this afternoon's teaching.
되니 아주 주저 년비값은 남 이나 때 당봉 고라더니 상십 심깃고 그래.
So whether it's at the beginning of a teaching or whatever it might be we might be doing, it's important that at the beginning we generate an aspiration of bodhicitta.
되니 가서 낭바가 되니 추방 오마스 되니 시나 이 상십 지sem지때 남다 남이나 인다만다 요고 그래.
As Buddhist practitioners, we need bodhicitta all the time.
되니 가서 남긴 되니 다 penagom jamnanda yana teni chuchut teni jananda dombando namina teni shansip sim gores.
As practitioners, whether it's during meditation or when we're reciting prayers or listening to a class, it's important that we do so with this aspiration.
Teni simjin tamche ko tond teni ta ngarang sanjego samne teni sam gores.
And so we need to make the aspiration to achieve Buddhahood for the sake of all beings.
Teni sangye sona karte ngarang so sangye sona teni ngaso simjin teni samji meche pamambo la teni pampa teni drip tap gores.
Thinking if I attain Buddhahood, then I will be able to benefit an inconceivable number of sentient beings.
Teni karte sam margina taron sam margi hungonda nga sola shanship ji semyo teni top tawaya poto teni jenana sam margi hungonda yang semjin la pampa halepa mambo drip kores.
If we don't perhaps achieve the state of Buddhahood, but nevertheless give rise to genuine bodhicitta and also obtain a realization of the nature of our mind, then even with this level of attainment, we will be able to benefit a great many beings.
어떤지 인디 땅에 심진라 판도바가 쳇더 되니 심진라 판바 야침보 되니 럽트바가 쳇더 되니 나랑 상기고 삼고 그래서.
So it's important that we think to ourselves, we make the aspiration to achieve Buddhahood so that we can be of great benefit to other beings.
되니 상기가 싫더 되니 나랑가 다 대추년거인 삼니들이 삼고 그래.
And so we should think that today we listen to this teaching in order to achieve Buddhahood.
Teni tanang ngatu kapsa teni ngatu sangha ka teni kerem ko korla teni ngotu shi songs.
So in this morning's session, we covered an introduction to the generation stage practices.
Teni ta tsukchut chogip pari teni tsukchut chogip pati zorum teni shakandagus.
And in verse 18, on page 18, this verse is speaking to the completion stage practices.
Teni zorum zewati nala, teni zopa chimbo yang teni zorum ganala, teni ndogres.
As for the completion stage practices, these are incorporated in the Dzogchen practices.
Yana kerem da zorum da dzogchen teni loksu karna teni chokres.
It's also fine to practice them each sequentially. So first generation stage, then completion stage, and then Dzogchen practice.
Teni tanang ngacho teni sha yoze teni zondi zorum de zo pena nyangma rawina zorum ko teni josha zorum ko nandon sama mang chishude teni ana yoga ga nala teni songres.
So as we were speaking about earlier this morning, in the Nyingma tradition, the most of the completion stage teachings correspond with Ana Yoga. They're classified within the Ana Yoga category of teachings.
Teni di zorum teni gombini kamna zo teni za dang long dang tle zi de so sum de zo zo shin sha kres.
At the completion stage of practice, the main focus is on the practices related to winds, channels, and drops.
Tini shirtang tini nga su mi lila tini tsa halipa mangpu yorezi tinani su tini tsai tsu simzini tini songo yorezi.
The human body is considered to have a great many different energy channels. However, in completion stage practice, the focus is on 3 principal channels.
Tini mi liki tini kila tini ki lipo kikula tini tsa omazi kite yorezi.
And running down the center of the human body is what's called the main channel.
Tini ye da yo nikala tini tsa roma da tsa kyangma tini tsa ni songdos.
And then there is said to be a left and right channel to either side of the main channel.
Tini tsa tini ximze gari tini tsa ti sola tini tsa ngkurlo zini ta pena tini nga su shio la tini tsa ngkurlo zini ta tsa ti so pen ngkurlo ra gini tini nga su tini dik shodik tini tsimma ra go tini yore ta ti so kati jibsha guna rumo ta ti tasa yore zi tini ti lapa gana la tini tsa mambu yore zi.
So then we speak of there being 3 main channels, and then in addition to channels, we have chakra points. So at the crown of the head is 1 chakra point. This is a place where many channels come together, just like the top of an umbrella.
And
there's another chakra at the throat. And another one in the chest or at the heart. And another one at the navel. And so as for these energy channels, when yogis meditate on them, they can perceive them very clearly. However, they are not channels that we can perceive with our naked eye. Even though we can't see them with our naked eye, these energy channels are a form of matter. They're not the same kind of concrete matter as things that exist in the physical universe, yet nevertheless they are a form of matter. So that is the energy channels. And then when we talk about winds, there are many different kinds of winds or different levels. We generally speak about outer, inner, and secret winds.
The
outer wind is the breath that we inhale and exhale. And the inner wind is that which travels or traverses our inner channels. It's not exhaled externally. And the secret wind refers to the different movements and thought activities of the mind. So this isn't a real wind, so to speak. And then as for drops, well, as we just mentioned, there are chakras at different points on the body. Well, drops, we use the word drops to describe them, but these are a kind of matter with a particularly potent capacity.
되니 비앙티 틀리 딜라야 벤드라마다 망보즈도
And there are many different kinds of drops.
다테소 가서 집차 신이 되니 가티 신도나 직니 되니 가서 냥마가 되니 데 마하요가 아니요가 나라 망보요레 마하요가 나라 벤나 상냥자고 있나 상완냥 보고 나라양 망보 송거도
Secret essence. Sangwanimbo?
상완냥 보
No, but Sangwanimbo isn't a secret essence. Oh, yeah, the Gyuhinap. Let's say, yeah. So there are many different types of drops. And in the Nyingma, both in the Ana-yoga teachings and in the Mahayoga teachings, there are descriptions and explanations of these, particularly in the Gyuyagarbha Tantra.
되니 딩코르 나라 할레바 망보요레스
And in the Kalachakra Tantra too.
옛나 되니 때 냠린 지구나 때서 카보레스 따따야나 때서 카보레스
However, to practice using these drops is rather difficult. At least these days, nowadays, it's rather difficult.
되니 티 냠린 제처다 되니 트진다 롱진다 때서 사마 냠린 쟁근자 사마 따따 따로용 볼라 되니 요요레스
Of course, the methods of practice, the instructions, the transmissions, etc., continue. They're still there. They still exist in Tibet.
되니 티 냠린 때서 되니 베 묘다 쳔보레스
Practice, these kinds of subtle body practices are very complex.
하장 까모레스
They're extremely difficult.
되니 인디 되니 가서 라마 되니 냠뇽야보 용행 것들이 치라 남이나 가서 중도 가서 요고레 마서 라마 메나 장람보 요산이 소소랑 그 곰나 때 닌카양 만분도스
And it's important that if we adopt this practice, that we do so with a lama near us. If we, in the long term, practice this without the guidance of a lama, then there is considerable danger.
되니 다 그런 거 고미야데 강라지나 다스탄다고 있나 가서 되니 혹되니 얼롱도 되니 자 오마다 로마니키 나란 로요레스
So, in terms of the what meditation of this kind entails, at the present point, wind is circulating or traveling along our different three channels.
되니 티 얼롱 때니도 되니 오마다 장마니 그 나라 다스탄 로디 되니 가서 셈그 나라 샤르가도 상마 남도 그래스
So at present, when the winds are traveling along the two channels that exist besides the main channel or wrap around the main channel, concept, yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. So the two channels to the left and right of the main channel are referred to as the Roma and the Yangma, and the wind traveling along these two channels causes concepts to arise in the mind.
되니 로마 장마니까 그나네 얼롱티 되니 더다데 냠린체게 남고 굼니 참마 오마가 나라 되니 땅거요레
So the objective of this practice is to bring the winds or have the winds that are traveling through the Roma and Yangma into the central channel.
되니 오마다 되니 장마가 나라 되니 얼롱 탐치보 오마가 나란 저기 값스 되니 냥카가 작은 콜로 나라요 비틀리 되소 되니 야름 바리용 그래서 베나 아주 메티리지오나 메티 토라 롱테스 잡나 메티 야름 바리용 거 대단다 보레
And when the wind from the two side channels, the Roma and the Gyangma, enters into the central channel, then the chakra at the heart, the drops in this chakra burn, ignite. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this causes the drops in the heart to ignite. So just like when you've got a small fire and wind blows it, then it ignites.
Teni tabshi tela te teni koso ganti chegir zinda nga tsu sem gitini namtok sem nala samlo mampo yopa te teni tsawa ni mepa shi ni teni namtok te so takar teni mepa shi ni jet chi pena chi japa tao shi ni pena nga tsu chi teni yungu yo na teni chi teni pena rangbab kuchi na bukchi na go jabjang na teni chi te lamsang chan zhong de tenza wa shi ni namtok tsama lamsang chan zhong teni ka tabshi chegir yore.
And the purpose of this is to completely stop the arising of concepts in the mind. And it's just like water coming out of a faucet or a pipe. By turning off the tap, we can just cut off the flow of water like that.
Teni namtok sama chat songdi, teni ti namtok me pick up tila, teni namtok me pick up teni yore si. Ti kabla, teni nga so semji ngo te kang zin, ti korang so lama ga teni ngo chak res, teni o tate semji ngo te res, one korang ka ngo chak res.
And for that period of time that concepts stop or cease arising, for that window, it is possible to perceive the basic nature of the mind. So at this point, the Lama provides pointing out instructions so that the practitioner can recognize the basic nature of mind.
Teni pena ti kapsa teni nga so sem ka teni te ngo te yakpozo teni namtok sama ngak sarwi jis sem ji ngo te saro hako gore karti te mako na nga so tsarlong gomna te la tondak chimbo yo mares.
So at that moment, or for that during that window when conceptual thought has stopped, we need to be able to recognize the essence of our mind. If we don't do this, if we can't do this, then there's not too much purpose in doing this practice.
Teni karti ti kapsa teni nga so sem ji ngo yakpo masina teni namtok mene namtok chaya mepi tola teni ndukres teni te pena nga so nit thukbo tawa rema to te la tondak chimbo yo mares.
Because if during this window when concepts cease, we simply abide in this state without recognizing the basic nature of our mind, then this is pretty similar to deep sleep, being in a state of deep sleep. There isn't a lot of meaning in residing in this state.
Teni nga so gom mambo teni tapsi nama na so pa shini namtok te ma me pa shini gak teni tsawa ne me pa shini teni ka tapsi tanga yo res.
So this practice involves using many different methods to stop the arising of concepts.
Teni yina teni namtok teni kakpa namtok chapa tas chibula teni gumze mare tes chipu tondak chimbo mares.
However, the just simply cutting off the flow of concepts in itself isn't of great meaning as a form of meditation.
Teni namtok teni chat sarvi jini gar chishu ngomade ti chat sarvi jini teni nga so sem gungo o saro teni lang gore tidi ta telata gogores.
What the most important thing is after the flow of concepts or the arising of concepts has been stopped or cut off. What is most important is that after this happens, we recognize the essence of the appearance of our mind.
Pena nga so ndo parshin takpa nangla teni gum yerambo jamni teni santan teni gumni teni kale shini yerambo reti teni so namtok te mar chechong drone teni jirni gumni teni namtok te rimji meba chegores.
So in the sutric tradition, in the vehicle of the perfections, It's through meditative concentration over a long period of time and shamatha meditation that concepts, discursive activity is gradually reduced.
Tani tindijina nam to me pa shi thap thap kores ina tisud hali pa yung rambong gol kores.
And it is possible through this method to cut off concepts, to cease discursive activity. However, this requires a long period of time.
Tani ngatsola goyati kandis go kores ina shirtang tini nam to me pa te pe na anyit pinekam na nam to me pares.
So what do we need then? Well, usually when we go to sleep, we fall asleep. There is a period without concepts, without discursive thought activity.
Ngatsola goyazi kita mabjina choa. Tindra wozu ke pe na gyarvi nekam na nam to me pares.
And also when we faint, we become unconscious. This is also a period without thought activity.
Tini ina tso ngaso shirtang la ngaso tso nyamlin la pantoyo mares ti mulum ga namjon da tinti yapoyo na chokore ma to shirtang la ti nyamlin la pantok manduze.
However, both of these states or experiences of falling asleep and fainting or passing out have no benefit to our practice unless, of course, we are a skilled practitioner of dream yoga.
Tini ti kapsu kangrezina namtok yang me parin ro ta ngaso sem ga nala kang muko jire ne chora sama me parin ro yore. Tini ta sem ga hak chi kanti yang hak go yo ma sama me pa reni tini pena mulum ga ndi nit pikam da ore ne sama me pare sarti tini ti nyamlen la phan to ko mare nam to ga yo mare ta ina ta kanji je som hayang ko yo mare sem korang ga hayang ko yo mare.
And the reason that both of these states are of no benefit to our practice is because even though during these states we have no thought activity, since our mind essentially has ceased operating, our mental consciousness, it's not aware of what's happening. We've got no feeling whatsoever. So it's the same with whether we pass faint or whether we fall asleep. Even though during these states there's a period of no thought activity, we don't have any capacity for awareness of what's happening.
Tini ngatsola goyati kandis go yorzena namtok sama menken namtok menken yina tini sem korang ha gongken tindis go yorez tindi ga ne kabziona tini ti tokni nyamlin che go yorez.
So what we need is a state of no thought activity, however, one where the mind is aware of what's happening. This is what we need for our practice.
Tini armulum tang tini ngaso gyarwi nekabse tini namtok yang yo marita sem korang hayang ko mari ti jimsenji ti ngaso la nyamlin la pantok yo mares.
And when we dream and when we faint, even though these are both states or periods of no thought, because the mind isn't aware of what's happening, therefore it's not of any benefit to our practice.
Tini tartan raboyena pena ngaso moso tini anyit mepi nekam raboyena ngaso sem ko tini korang hako yore te ina yang namtok haliba mampo yore yang ti pantok yo mares.
So as in our present waking state, while we're not sleeping, our minds may be aware, but at the same time, there is a great deal of conceptual thought activity in our minds.
Tini indi tini parte la tini par nyamus go yores namtok na mepa tini sem korang go a tini ga tapsis tini che go yores.
So what we need is a method to bring us to a state between these 2 points, one where our mind is aware of what's taking place, however, where we have no thought activity.
Tini te ngaso parshin taba ndo inna tini samtan irambo gomna tini ti ta namtok chechong do ne namtok mepare inna sem korang hako ya tini ga
And one method for this in the sutric tradition is shamatha meditation, and by means of shamatha meditation it is possible through long-term cultivation of meditative concentration to bring oneself to a state where thought activity is very minimal or non-existent, but the mind's awareness is present, is active.
Tani sana kanala tari nga so di Roma ta kyangma ga lung tini Roma kanala ndewi kapsa tani lamsang korang nam tok tsangma chandro res. Ti titsut pe halipa mjokbo tini res.
In the Vajrayana, when the winds from the Roma and Yangma enter into the central channel, then immediately thought activity ceases. This is a very rapid movement.
Tini tini ki chaparta kangri reze na nga so poba ga lama tso tini songwa reze pe na ngarang gom jamni tini ngarang go na yo samni tini gom jamna tini nyama shekanda nyama chingda tini gom jamna ngo tsawani na me na ngo na yung reze nga sim go tini samna ngo korang na yung reze
Yan ja sona jikruba kembolangi.
pe na ngarang go na yo samni teko wa sim go na la gom na ze Tani ngo shirtang ngo tsawani na me na tani ngo na yung koreze sim go na la ti rambo gom na nyama shekanda nyama chingda tini gom na tini ngo na yung koreze.
So the difference between these two, there are many Tibetan lamas who have described it in these terms, say meditating on, sitting in meditation and meditating on one's head hurting or having a headache, despite the fact that one doesn't have a headache. And by meditating in this way, it's possible within half a day or 1 day to actually produce a headache. However, this requires a bit of time.
Oh yeah. However,
if I was to strike myself on the head with this, then I would straight away get a headache.
Oh yeah.
So this is the difference between the two, as some lamas have said.
So by
practicing meditative concentration, it is possible for discursive thought gradually to be stopped.
Nani marlin gona tini lakpa tini chigni tini ye rambo gore chisu nisum tini gore tini tazo pena chisu chingdas manta gore tini zo oma nani marlin thap kores.
Or we can liken it to the process of making butter from milk. Traditionally, using a butter churn, it would take a long time, 2 or 3 hours, or at least 1 hour.
Tini tartan tracha nala lingni tini lakpa tini korjo kores korna tini karma chik nala tini marlin thap kores oma nani.
However, these days you just put the milk in a butter blending machine and press the button, and within 1 minute you've got butter.
Yeah.
So it's like this. This is the difference between these two approaches. However, once conceptual activity is ceased, we need to be able to recognize Rigpa. If we're not able to do this, then there's no point in it whatsoever.
Jagarla tini yopi tini jagar ke tini nyamlin chengken tini ngama zegre tarta mare sanje kamra tini ke lo tong chasik ta tini ke kongla te khoso tini khosola yang tini tsarlung tini namada mambo gumgin dozi.
More than 1,000 years ago in India, there were practitioners at the time of the Buddha and around this time who performed subtle body practices, practicing on the winds, drops and channels.
Tini khoso tini gom ti kari ke chet gom ko yore zinata maso tini sem gnani tini namtok de so me ba chak sai jis tini libola deva halipa tini chorab deva tini chachim boyong ko yore ti ton to gom ko yore.
And the reason that they did this practice was because when the thought activity is ceased, then a great bliss arises, and this was the purpose of them doing this practice.
Teni ngacho sanga dorji thakba nangla tini ti sorwa devati chet gomgo mares.
However, in Vajrayana Buddhism, we don't do this practice to derive this feeling.
Teni namtok me charwi jini teni namtok maybe kaps teni korang sem korang ngo kandizire te hakoya shit teni gomgo yores nambagina.
As Buddhists, the reason that we do this practice is so when conceptual activity ceases, we are able to recognize the essence of our mind. That's the purpose of doing this practice.
Teni indi teni zorum ndi zorum korang teni salung thili gomba so karchishuti korang muirte teres.
So in the completion stage, the practices on winds, drops, and channels, the purpose of these practices is this.
Teni jambastik te kangrezena te koso teni gombi kaps teni lipo nala yo pitini salung thili te so teni ngaso tartan raboina gummi pikaps ngaso shachak lipo te teni pasar oreze nang salung thili teni lipo te ngaso teni yo reze kite mato pa halipo saro teni hako mareze tartan raboina.
Another thing is that in our present state, even though we intellectually understand that we have a subtle body and that there are energy channels and winds and drops, we don't have direct experience of this.
Teni also teni tisat so nangla teni nipa nipa teni thuli teni mampo nduk tari ngaso kono shaswa teni thuli te so nipa yar chi sona teni ngaso shachak li tarta ngaso li pond mar teni mepa chagne teni ti sapt teni li jamba teni daoz teni yongorese ta partana ngaso li ponde jete yena li pote teni jeponda o jam dogores.
As we mentioned before, in the energy channels, drops, and through the cultivation of this practice, it's possible for the power or the energy of these drops to increase, to grow, such that this present physical body can be replaced by a more subtle energetic body. To look at it appears as the same physical body, but in actual fact, it's effectively replacing one's body with a different kind.
Teni ti lipotela teni nawa tang teni naje tang gewa tang ge yarwa to mepa teni lipozre kare ti lipotela gilize yores gimi lize yores.
And this other body, this alternate body, one that is called the illusory body.
Oh yeah. Teni ti ngaso lipo ngaso tartandaina ngaso lipondi shachak lipote reti shachak lipote lipo nigma rawote rezi nigma raporeze tangma da nigma nikinan nigma tangma da nigma zenako.
Oh, let's say. So if we compare these two bodies, our current body of flesh and blood and that of the illusory body, we can say that one is like an impure version and the other a pure version.
Shirtang tini zorum de pe tini nyamling gatone na halipa gatini sahna gatini nyamling yapota nyamling karshi tini je ina tini te nyokta ti ndoze te mi halipa tsundi chanda tini ina yongore mato jamba ti kapo yores.
So even though completion stage practice in the Vajrayana is considered, one of the most important practices and is really good these days, unless a practitioner is really a very diligent practitioner, for most people it's a difficult practice to undertake.
Tini tinkur ke tini nyamlenti tini tartanga so bolla tini yakbu yores.
Ninkur?
Tinkur.
Oh, tilku. Let's say. So practitioners of this practice, there are practitioners in Tibet currently.
Tini tarta yana nga so tini pok tini 슐륵 쪼고 나네 베나 조낭 바거더니 띵거 약보 할레바 약보 곰 그래서
For example, practitioners in the Jonang tradition of Tibetan Buddhism, there are many good practitioners in that tradition of this completion stage practices.
드니 로스음당 다와스음라 드니 참라 드니 곰비 드니 소르긴데 가마니 요레 따따양 드니 두스
And there is they have a tradition of a 3-month retreat on these practices. That it's a very old tradition and it continues to exist.
드니 인디 딩코르 드니 카르테 쿄란소 곰삼나 드니 조낭가 드니 라마소고 드니 산니 랍니 곰나 약슈레스.
So if any of you were interested in this practice, probably the best thing to do would be to study with a Jonang teacher.
드니 가초 냥만라였나 디 조름 그 코르도소 드니 요디 차상와 요리 캬버다 아네 요가나라 야침보 요레다 따르타 드니 그 야침보 시니 곰큰 뇽뇽 레제 파치 mambo 요사 마레스.
But in the Nyingma tradition, even though in the Anuyoga we have very complete teachings on these practices, these days the number of people who are practicing them is rather few.
드니 냥마가 있나 쪼디 드니 죽친 곰 그래스.
For Nyingma practitioners, the main practice is Dzogchen.
드니 죽친 그 토라 드니 식잡니 드니 곰자티 드니 잠바초이나 티 토라 할레바가 식침보 잡고요 말레스 냥마인라이나.
So for practitioners of the Nyingma, the greatest effort and emphasis is placed on Dzogchen practice and relatively less effort on the other practices.
아야 니 쪽쪽 쉐입장 리김 전코집 데서마 쪽son 그니나 오서 지밀리라 옴저 조름 듣기 틀에 담바르스와 니타 츠브치 저그바티 만촌니 드니 조바침 보송 그레스.
So from verse 19 on page 19 onwards, we're talking about the Dzogchen practice.
드니다 닝이면 발학벌 도르컵스 탐제 지르크로 진종가베 양산냥 특님이 잼창범 다슴 답든 초기 잼버르 당아초 페나 타르티티니 시송라오 티니지나 티니 무소 티니 셈라 티니 뇽몽바 할레파 망보레 티니 남톡 할레파 망보레스.
In the kind of society that we have these days, people have a great amount of afflictions in their minds. They also have a great deal of discursive activity.
Teni ti nirkapsa aso shirtang teni mdo parshin takpatang teni sanga kanani teni sanga shipa o tesoyena pena sanji teni jiyo pikap teni mitsulayena ti teni yakpo teni shini pantok ko yore ma tok pa tartan rayena teni kampo rezi ta teso teni ta aso sim kanani nyomo ba chama me pa shi gona tez kampo yore teni sombares.
And for people of modern society, the methods of the vehicle of perfections and the vehicles in the outer class of tantras were of benefit to people during the time of the Shakyamuni Buddha. However, it's rather difficult for methods from these particular categories to eradicate or eliminate the afflictions in the minds of contemporary people.
Teningacho mucho teni semnala nyomba gangji chimbo yona sanghati tenji yona teni pamba yoba tenji rezi shertang teni sanghati te nyomba ha lepa chimbo yopi nerkabs teni nyamsle ya chu tenji shertang kharang rang tenji yongsong yores.
As for the Vajrayana, the greater the afflictions in the minds of beings, the greater benefit its methods are. So it's often said that the Vajrayana are methods for people with great afflictions.
Tin nangni kyang perna tini zogba chimbon rayo na yang tele kyang tini ta yang halipa tini nyamni yakpo shi thapsona tini jogbo tini mrewa yakpo yongkhen ga tini ga chure.
And the Dzogchen practices in particular, if one is able to practice them well, the results can come about very quickly indeed.
Teni zogba chimbo tin nangla teni ta shirtang zogba chimbo tila yewa ni yore zinga so de shirtang zogba chimbo la aso tari kong la sha so shirtang yewa mambo yore ta yewa teso tsama teni rig guna rig ni re chitela chachu chi torgar teni zegres.
So among all the Dzogchen teachings, there are many different classes and classifications, many different divisions, but in essence, we can say that there are two primary divisions, those between the Trekchö teachings and the Togol teachings.
Teni chachu zeyati zo teni tongba nyingi ton teni te gomgo yores.
And the Trekchö teachings primarily entail meditation on emptiness.
Teni ti nangla ti chachu ko tongba nyi ti nangla nga zum do nangla teni shepi ti tongba nyi ta teni ti ngak nangla teni sompi tongba nyi ta tongba nyi tsama ti nangla ndig yores.
And the emptiness that is of the Trekchö practices incorporates the concepts of emptiness from the sutra tradition as well as from other categories of tantra.
Teni indi nga zo maha yoga ta ana yoga cho nangla yopi teni zorum go teni kapsa teni shepi teni tongba teni korte tsama ti nangla chachu zeyati nangla ndig yores ti nangla ndig yores.
So of the practices in the Mahayoga teachings and the Anayoga teachings, all of the emptiness or the practices of emptiness corresponding with these classes of practice are all incorporated in the Trekchö practices.
Teni nga zo do parchin tapa teni sherib ki paruto shunba nangla sombi tongba nyi tang. Teni nga ka teni zorum ga nangla sombi tongba nyi te so tsama. Teni tongba nyi tsama te teni tab labo zika goni teni te toya ga tabshi. Teni nanga yore zi dzogchen ga kapsa.
So in the Dzogchen teachings, the emptiness that is the focus of the Prajnaparamita class of sutras, and the emptiness which is the focus of the completion stage practices, in the Dzogchen teachings there are methods for completely realizing both of these.
Teni Jambatila teni torgar zini teni sungo yore zi teni chikti torgar zegre chikti chachu zegre tari kongla chachu kardusha sunga teni nipati torgar zegre.
So the second class of teachings in the Dzogchen tradition is the Togol teachings.
Teni torgar ziyati teni kandi skari sungo yore zina zo nga so tari kongla teni di ngak nala gili zi chizi teni yore teni sha sunga. So in
the category of Togol teachings, we just mentioned the illusory body, which is the focus of the completion stage teachings. These are all incorporated within the Togol class of teachings. And as we also mentioned earlier this morning, the development stage teachings, all of these are incorporated within the Togol class of teachings too. And during the bardo state or the intermediate state following death, there is a lot of use of these practices. As for Togol practices, these are relatively advanced level Dzogchen practices. So they don't exist in lower levels of Dzogchen practice. Lower levels of Dzogchen practice focus on the Trekchö class of practices. In order to realize emptiness or recognize the essence of mind, regardless of how we put it, there are three main methods of doing so.
Tini tabshi tangbo de aso pe na oma nang la tini songba tang tini sherp ki par to shimba ndo nang la songba jinda tini shapa mambo gyamni tini rikpa go ni shapa mambo gyamni tini tama ta tongba rendu samba ga tini suso go tini ngishi yak potobya de tabshi sikti de.
The first of these is that of the Madhyamika teachings or the Prajnaparamita teachings, and this entails logical investigation and investigation through reasoning over a long period of time. And by engaging in this analysis and investigation, one can arrive at an understanding of emptiness and gain confidence in this realization.
Teni tabshi nipati tari nga so kong la zorum teni sha songa zorum go teni tsarlong tle la teni namtok tsama me pashi teni namtok me tsarwi jini teni semga teni ngo tongba te teni nyamsam nyongwa teni ga tabshi shega wale te tabshi teni nipati res.
And the second method is what we were just speaking about, the completion stage practices. So by means of manipulation of the winds, drops, and channels, we can cause conceptual activity to cease, and then in that window, after this has taken place, directly perceive the basic essence of the mind.
Tani ta zopa chimbo tabshi kari pesho tanga yorezina ta tabshi tangbo shapa tanga tana pesho tanga mares.
So what approach does the Dzogchen teachings adopt? Well, it's not the first one of logical investigation and analysis.
Tani tabshi nipa tani ti tsarlong tani gomya ten pesho yang kong tanga mares.
And neither does it use the second method of the completion stage practices.
Tani ta tabshi kari rezina ta tabshi mepati tani tabshi yin tani zayong gores.
So the practice that it uses is the non-practice. Yes, the practice of no methods. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tani tabshi mepati tabshi yin zayong ta nga sote ko alen gona halipa ko alen shing mares.
Of course, to say that it's a no method is pretty difficult to understand.
Tani yang zoba chimbo kare gom gorezina ta gomba mepati tani gomba rezina tindi song gores.
So what does Dzogchen meditate on? Well, it is a no meditation. This is always also what's said.
Tani yang tawa yang te rezina nga so yang tani zoba chimbo tawa kare rezina tawa mepati tawa rezina tindi zayong gores.
And it's the same with regards to view too. If you ask, well, what is the view of Dzogchen? The answer is it's a no view.
Tani nga so ko yak polen shina tini tsikti solape halipa tini ko tang zabu tini lengi yores.
Di janja sona jigirba kambala.
Te karte nga so ko yak polen shina ti tsikti sola tini ko pe tang zabu tini lengi yores.
But if we know how to understand them, then actually from these words we can derive a very deep and profound understanding or insight.
Tani ko ale mashina ne pe tini ngo korean ro tini ngung khon ro re nga so ta kanri na ta gom go re da re go mare ta to go re ta to go mare tini sam kores.
However, if we don't know how to understand these words, then they seem very, very confusing. So, we might wonder, well, do we need to meditate or don't we need to meditate? Do we need to realize the view or don't we?
Tani indi tini ta zoba chimbo tini korang ka tabshi ni la tini tawa to ko yor tabshi ni res.
So, the Dzogchen teachings have primarily two methods or two approaches for realizing the nature of mind.
Teni chikti nga zo teni ngonro te yakpo tsatang tamba pe halipa ani yang da teni ngonro te teni gum teni lan chikza mayimbar te yang nga zo ngonro wo changa zi teni sokpa za mayimbar yang ni da gum ni ngonro te pe yakpo tini yongya te tabshi chigres.
The first of these is by really laying a very firm foundation in excellent practice of the preliminary exercises. And this means doing the preliminaries over and over, not just to fulfill the requisite number, but with a focus on quality and performing them over and over. And by doing this, laying a really firm foundation.
Tini tabshi nipa te na nga tsom dzogba chimbo rangda, tini dzogba chimbo songkang ka lama la tini ha lepa ka tapa chimbo te gondos.
The other approach requires an extraordinarily great faith in both the Dzogchen teachings and in the teacher of the Dzogchen teachings.
Tini di tapa te halepa nga tsom mi pena nga tsom bog nang la tini lama tini loma tini tapa yakbo yongken tini halepa ka mambo yore. Koso tapa te tini nga tsom shuloko tini muzika tana tsawa ni kuwa len tam me pandawa, kuwa len mashi pandawa tini yores.
In Tibet, there are many students who have really excellent faith in their teachers. In fact, their faith is of such a level that people from outside really just wouldn't be able to comprehend the kind of faith they have. Larongange shimaso.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Master. Oh.
And in the past, it was also like this in India too.
Oh, yeah. Tini tapaha lipa tini tang zapo tini tapa shikchimbo tini yores.
Students like this, they have a faith that is extraordinarily deep. It's really, really powerful.
Tini tapa la tini kosorang rang semgo ngo de hakon ro yores.
And it's possible by means of this faith for students like this to, relying on this faith for them to recognize the nature of their mind.
Tani hakos koya hakoate kapkaps tini jimson chiching me bandrawo tini guni hako yang yores.
And there are people who gain this recognition or realization in a way almost without rhyme or reason.
Pendangama tini ngaso nyangma tini lama chikta te loma shini korani rongola korani gomjamne tini dede yores lama pe yakpozata tini lomani ka.
In the past, once upon a time, there was a Nyingma teacher who was a really wonderful teacher, and he went with his student into the mountains to meditate.
Tini koranika tini tikaps tini soa korla halepa tini soa kyobo tini res.
And their quality of life was very poor, very basic.
Tini korani la tini korwa tini chik za jin duzi korwa chik ti korani guni za go duzi korwa.
And they had a piece of bread, a round piece of bread, and they shared it between the two of them.
Korwa zina kongdwa korwa korwa. Oh, parle kongda korwa.
Ngishe song kambula.
Oh yeah. Koti ti kondzi a ziten tini kogze chwanga koti. Tini ta lama gzina tini korang ka tini korwa kini mar tini zhigo jadni tini gogi kapsa tini lama ga tini sone loma la tini sone ti korwa ti go ti kangri jikang nandu tini lama ga zhiwa tini ko parese korwa ga
jikang nandu zina
ah
jikang nandu ti lama tini zhiwa kandis koso
lama ga korwa paglem kung go kangri jikang rese
oh la se
tini ga zhiwa koso.
And so the teacher asked his student, he said, which is the top of this bread and where's the top of this bread and where's the bottom of this bread? Because the bread was round, it didn't have a top or a bottom. And so the student, looking at the piece of bread, found themselves in a state of no thought activity their thoughts, subsided as they were kind of struck by this question, wondering where the top and the bottom of the bread was. So they're a little bit shocked. They're a little bit surprised by this question. And at this very moment, they realized the nature of the mind. So this was very strange. There seemed no reason for this. And then there was another time when a teacher and his student went into the mountain to meditate. And in the night time, there were no clouds whatsoever. The sky was completely clear, and it was just full of glittering stars. And the teacher and his student, they went outside and they went and laid on the grass looking up at the sky. And in a place not too far away, there was a monastery. And in the monastery was a dog that was barking. And the teacher said to his student, "Can you see the stars up there?" And the student said, "Yes, I can see them." And the teacher said to the student, "There's a dog over there. Can you hear it?" And the student said, "Yes, I can hear it." And then the student suddenly thought, "Oh, gee, that was a strange question," and suddenly felt surprised. And in thinking about this strange question asked by the Lama, the students' thoughts fell aside, and immediately they recognized the nature of their mind, just like that. And then yesterday we talked about the case of the student whose teacher accused them in front of a crowd of stealing his food. And at this time when he was accused by his teacher, he gave rise to fright in his mind. And in this moment of fright, his thoughts fell aside and he recognized the nature of his mind. And there are other strange methods that Dzogchen masters use on their students. For example, in front of many people, telling them to stand up and go out, get out. And then just as the students are about to leave, the teacher tells them immediately to come straight back and then begins to scold and rebuke them. And then telling them to get out once again. by this method, by causing fright, moments of fright in the student's mind, it's possible for the thought activity to subside somewhat, and in this window for the students to realize the nature of their mind.
Teni kapsa teni lami teni ja teni ji kaja nda boyna teni ta kaja nangdun ji yang mesa ga teni kaja teni sung ne teni ti chis ko ton da res ni zhe.
And then sometimes the teacher just makes sounds, makes noises, or without any meaning whatsoever, and then asks their students, "What did that mean?"
Oh. Teni zhi ne kamna te loma kan te kan ji sam ne nang da bo jam ni nyang shor ne te za cha na ki di korang nam tok te zang ga res ga ti teni lam sang teni ha kon ro res.
And when the students are asked this kind of question, they are kind of struck still, and in this moment of fright, their thoughts fall away, and it's possible for them to realize the nature of their mind.
Pena nga to langkhor ka nang la teni langkhor din khor nin ro yo kap se teni langkhor ka hemcher ka nang la hemcher zena ko da fa dong ji o nang la teni nam te teni yong kap se teni lok ko teni lok da ni lok yong wa da nam ni to to song de teni ko ram bar ne teni langkhor ka shit ren ro res.
So it's like in a car, when a car is going, when the engine gets going, just a drop of gas or fuel, when it enters, then the lok zina.
The gaji na la lok go de gaji chi gang zi ti na la. This is chi gang.
The thing is the battery. Oh, okay. The cylinder of the engine.
Teni lok yung wata teni nam tinalam yung ani totok sona teni bar kereze. Bar ne shit rendore, shishik rendore.
Explosion. Oh, okay. So it's because I don't know anything about engines. It's terrible. So in the engine of a car, when the fuel comes in and it makes contact with the cylinder, a big explosion takes place.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Combustion.
Yeah. Oh.
저 가디 바르케세 좀 하자. 아.
군가 캠봉에 데니 롱코 콜랑에 거야 보면.
랑코는 반도 그래서 말해지.
딩이 데니 제마송.
어야. 그래. 가디가 되니 가디가 나라 되니 강지 기대치는데 가디가 나라 치강지 그랬대라. 가디가 나라.
A mix of the gas and air in the cylinder. All of a sudden you ignite by a spark. I think combustion happens.
That's a very good explanation.
다 tinja boreze teni soso teni lama damgtang soso simte nam to ni te ngarni tinji chewi kapsa teni lamsang korang hab kon ro ndoz.
So it's like this. When one receives these interventions of one's teacher, thought activity ceases, and in this moment, the nature of mind can be recognized. Of course, these are special cases. This is not the case all the time.
Teni kwerang so ta soso gom japsa songze teni dawa chingda bo teni zge jila teni sershoze teni soso semte kandizre teni kwerang yakpo tazi dawa chik jila teni kwerang shone teni ngarang la sar teni te jikchunda bo she go ngarang ge semte ndizre zene teni yong go sone ngarang la sar lap sho sone teni sone loma so par tane teni gom jap chikres.
The more usual course of practice is for the students, once they have finish their preliminary practices for their teacher to send them off to meditate for, say, a period of a month, and then after 1 month to call them back and have them give an account to describe their meditative experience, and for their teacher to verify their experience, and then give them more instructions, and then to send them back for another month of practice, and then call them back and have them describe their experience and to practice in this way.
Tani dawa singrawo tani 그 jila sariyong sawi jisa tani lo masoso tani ta ngarang ka sem tin tani zire ngarang ka nyamnyung ku thoni shana ngarang ka sem tin tani zire zine tani korang ka lama la yar jir go gres.
So after a month of practice, the student comes back and describes to their teacher, this is the state of my mind, this is how my experience has been. They have to describe this to their teacher.
Tani Ti kapsa tini tez lama tani tez tini njukumena tini korang la o ta tini china njukumare sone tini yang njukumepa tiso tini songores yina tini o kyorang ka sem tini ndizre zini par tini labkumare.
And in describing their experience to their teacher, the teacher will listen, and if there are some aspects of their experience that are not quite spot on, then they will give them instructions so that they can adjust their practice. But it's not as if the teacher directly says to them, oh, this is how your mind is, or anything like that.
Tini tindichi yongdi tini da karti tarong yang pochong mena yang kir tini partang yang gum jap chikres.
And if the student has not yet quite arrived at the right point, then the teacher will send them back for another month of practice.
Tini yang kir yong ne tini ta ngarang ka gum japayang ngarang ka nyamnyung ina ngarang rang ka sem tin tini zre zine tini lama yar jir go gres.
And then after another month, call them back again. And once again, the student will describe the state of their mind, the state of their meditative experience.
Teni lama la jiwi kapsa nga tsun di nang la yopi ti dzogpa chimbo nang la yopi tsik te chikyan pesha tang chok mares.
And when they describe their experience, their meditative experience to their teachers, they're not permitted to use any of the words or terminology that we see in this text.
Teni tsik te so pesha tang janan di nang la song yore. Teni te ngoma yin na ma yin na korang ka rikpa yakbo toyo ta me te hako tab mares.
And the reason is because these words are here in the text, and if the student just uses the words, then it's difficult to know whether or not they really have recognized Rigpa.
Teni yang lama la teni jiwi kapsa teni ta te teni ta njikandu sambanda o teni zi yondi teni ta zo lama teni kyorang la teni ngotut teni shegres.
And so it's only after the student reaches a point in their practice when they're doing quite okay, they've reached a quite good level of practice, that the teacher will impart pointing out instructions to them.
Teni ti kapsa teni susorang ka nyamnyung kugoni yakpo teni yung yona ti nyamnyung te yakpo reona teni lama o ta kyorang ka nyamnyung te re o te matsu dzogpa chimbo na la songpa te re teni yang dzogpa chimbo na yang dhamma mambo song yore te so te re song ne teni sem ka toni teni ngochot nang re se teni ka nyamnyung te zi yopi kapsa.
And when a student has achieved some meditative level of meditative experience, then the teacher will point out to them. They will point out which parts of their experience, their meditative experience, corresponds with what parts of the Dzogchen teaching. So the Dzogchen teachings have much to say, cover many different points, and so the teacher will point out which part of their experience corresponds with the different aspects of the Dzogchen teachings.
Teni ngacho teni talo tshib denchi go teni kong denchi gyache go kong la ne kharsang teni lamaz teni yo teni song teni serta la ngacho lama teni dzogpa chimbo lamaz yo teni kharsang sha song aze teni ti teni kumden la teni ta chujin ken teni dzogpa chimbo jin ken teni lomaz teni kong kumden la yong bares.
So yesterday I said that there was 60 or 70 years ago, there was a Dzogchen Lama in Seta County in Tibet. Anyway, there was a student of the Dzogchen teachings who came to the side of that teacher to receive teachings.
Tani ti kaps tini ti lomati korang ti ngola tini lama jambaz tini chungni tini korang gum jamni jigpares.
And this student, prior to coming before this Dzogchen teacher, had been meditating by the side of another Lama.
Tani gum lob changa la jamdus ti lama jambati kumdani nyolo changa la gum jamdus.
And had meditated with this Lama for a period of 15 years.
Tani korang zena ta lo changa ti nangla tani ngarang pena gomo nyetje tani zamazaje yanro manro to chama par phina ta ngarang gum ngomatila tini lo chit yo shakshak yenze tini ngarang lo chit hamba to gum jab yoze tani sombares
Jitamba.
lo chit hamba.
And what the student said was, if you take away the time that I spent sleeping and eating and walking around, then I have 10 years of meditative experience.
Ti yinang tini dzokpa chimbo tini tsawani tok mat pares tini tsawani gum hali pa yana japarita dzokchin tsawani mat tok pares.
Despite this extremely long period of time that the student had been meditating, he had not managed to recognize the nature of his mind.
Tini lama tela tini tabshi jamba mene ta ngarang tabshi chichu mendu tini kyorang la dzokpa chimbo toya ga tabshi ngarang chichu shitab mendu tini kyorang nge karsang shaya ga lama oti kumdal la sonda te chishina tabshi yak boyo kiri ta kyorang nge chongla teli de morgo kyorang nga salam mardig mato ngarang ka salam digna nge kyola pantok mendu tini kyorang lama ti kumdal la song sone tini tangbares.
So actually, this student, when he said that he'd had 10 years of meditative experience, he was speaking to the original Lama that he was with. And his original Lama said to him, well, look, I've got no method then that I can teach you so that you can realize the basic nature of your mind. So what you need to do is go to that Lama over there, and he dispatched his student to that Lama to receive teachings from him.
Tani tari lama dzokpa chimbo lama te nge karsang to lama ti kumdan la sone tani korang ka loji ti so yakpo tani jini tani cheti tani lama ti sona oya ta kyorang loh chigla tani kyorang kyamdru to gom sho sone son bareze karsang asu kyamdru sha songa o loh chigla ti kyorang kyamdru gom tani loh chigla tani kyorang kyamdru gom sarvi jini tani yar sho son bareze.
And so when the student went before the Dzogchen teacher that we just mentioned and explained to him his situation and what had gone before, the teacher said to him, okay, well then for 1 year I want you to meditate on refuge. And so he sent him and told him to come back and see him after a year of doing this.
Tani los chigla korang tani kyamru tani yakpo zo gomni tani los chig jila tani yam lama kumdan la tani songbares.
So after 1 year of meditating well on refuge, he returned once again to the Lama.
Tani lami kumdan la sone te lama la jini ta ngarang kyamru ti hali pa yakpo zo gom yo kyamru ti ngarang lo chig rang la tani kyamru tsu kyamru ton 강당 강가토니 샤나 나랑 땅본다고 뜬디스 곰요 달라마 나랑라 데네 쪽바침보 간디지네 토나가사레 손에 뜬디 야르지바레스.
So the student came back to the Lama and he said, look, for 1 year I have been meditating absolutely excellently on refuge. Not just the words, but the meaning of refuge. I've really meditated 1 year really excellently on refuge. Will you please now tell me how to meditate on Dzogchen?
Tani oya ta kyorang lo nga chamro gomni tini nga sa shok sombares.
So then the teacher said to him, oh, in that case then, I want you to go and meditate for 5 years on refuge and then come back to me.
Yeah. Tani korang ngone tani yazini tani korang marathon tani lo nga chamro gombares.
And And the student said, okay then, and he really went and away and meditated for 5 years on refuge.
Teni korang namgin teni so hali ba teni kyobore korang la teni sakba teni nga so bok teni kyonji teni chik ma so kyonji mendus.
The Tsakbazana?
Sakba
Oh, all right, yeah. So this student was really poor. He only had one coat to wear.
Teni korang sakba chibu to kon namgin teni gom jamne de bi jemsenji teni sakba phongo sama teni 북송세 다당가 소 로뇽초 도마 풍고 네 빙고 참마 teni 테보 teni 쫀니 정도와 딘다 오래 송세 그런 것이 풍고 참마.
So this coat or this robe that he had, because he was meditating for such a long time, he wore a hole in the bottom, just like young people these days go around with holes in the knees and bottoms of their pants.
Yeah. Teni gom jamne teni lo chun dombi teni lo chukre sonse te jamdo tata gombarise.
So he was sitting there meditating on refuge for a period of 6 years.
Teni ti jini teni lo chuk jilangone changne lo chuk song sawi jini teni lama ga zokshin sonne teni korangone zokshin tongdugse.
And so after this period of 6 years of solely meditating on refuge, he went to the Lama again, received Dzogchen teachings, and realized the nature of his mind.
Teni korang lama ngama ti tongla teni lo chonga res, teni lama jima ti tongla lo chig res, teni chun lo nish sakchi resons.
So taking into account the 15 years that he had spent with the first Lama and the 6 years that he had spent with the second Lama, he'd spent a total of 21 years on practice.
Teni ngaso tari kong la shayona pichi le lapo pe le lapo nda chi korwa kang resina lamsang chi toksong anda teni zo zokpa chenpo ta le lapo zin sari sanda te ma rese.
So before, when we were saying that realizing the nature of mind in Dzogchen is as easy as thinking about where the top or bottom of the bread is, well, it's not as easy as this at all.
Ti mak ragme do makashi pe jogbo teni tokore makashi to teni yerambon gor kres.
And this is just due to the difference of people, the different kinds of people, different capacities. Some people attain realization very quickly, others need a longer time.
Teni lama ti jima teni parchir teni lorob dunchi paganangla teni nde sonse ti lama ti zobachimbo lonish sakchi gumkante.
And the Lama, that Lama who had spent 21 years meditating, passed away in the 1970s.
Teni ti kapsa korang gomba desa yo mare teni korang kimsang nala sone korang kimsang shik nala dendus.
During that period, he wasn't meditating. He went and lived in a home with a family.
Teni kimsang ti korang ga nisan rapo teni zres.
And this family were his relatives.
Teni nyamas chigla teni te korang ga teni da kimsang ti namgin korang kimsang ga teni kangba ga tokla teni degendu teni kimsang koso ola yore te zama zawi kapsa ti kimsang teni zama leni teni korang yar chadni namgin teni chegendu.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. So yes, the Paloma just clarified that during the 1970s, the Lama wasn't in the monastery. He wasn't, obviously because of the period of time, and so that's why he was living with a family. And in this family home, the Lama usually lived on the upper level, and the family, they lived on the lower level, and then when they would cook food, they would bring it up to him.
Teni korang ga teni kimsang sola teni sone teni ta nga teni nroyin teni kyosu sangma ngarang la chik teni thiksa yongna teni chik thiksa yongna teni chokore sone teni songdu se nga nroyin se na ta korang huyin se gres.
So, and then one day the Lama said to his relatives, he said, "It's time for me to die. I'm going to die. If you like to come and see me for a final time, that's fine."
Teni kimsang sangma yar yongne teni kimsang ga teni sangma ga teni 심득들이 mambo 신득들이 다 라마 손에 다 결혼 소티니 심처들이 제고 말에 되니 나랑 되니 거를 붙여가 살라더니 로인 되니 대랑 맞춰 상마더니 보시니 되니 거기서 남긴이나 거랑 라마 톨라데 겸상대 올라요. 다 대랑 맞춰 상마 냠도 되네 맞춰 거더니 잔혼에 자마자네 되니 보탕네 대랑 니마 찔랑 맞춰 되니 두 손에 되니 송아레스.
And when the family all came together and came up to see him, they expressed to him a lot of worry and sadness and concern. And he said to them, look, there's no need for all this concern. I'm going to the realm of Guru Rinpoche. And so he said, look, on this final day, let's be happy. Let's stay together and eat and drink. Usually the Lama lived on the upper floor and they lived on the down floor, but he said today let's gather together.
Teni koranso masu tela sama teni chamsang sibo teni kepo chini teni lama kumdala teni dendus.
And so for one whole day, the entire family gathered together beside the Lama, happily enjoying themselves.
Teni nima nipa kapsa teni lama la teni ta jokpa teni jokcha yar teni kenro gores.
And then 2 days later, it was time for the family to bring the morning meal to the Lama.
Teni lama sone teni ta choso nangma tsangma nyamda show teni nga tso jokcha teni nyamdan thong teni jokchan thong sarwi jini teni nga rang row yin song bares.
And the Lama said to the family, oh, well, look, bring me my morning tea. All the family, let's get together. Let's come together again. Let's have our breakfast together because after that, I'm going to die.
Teni tsangma jokcha nyamdan thong chan thong teni sarwi jisi teni lama sone ota nga tso tsangma yakpore song teni kyorang tsong te semchir chichi go mare teni nga go te mar gyup go mar gyap shok teni nima dun la go teni shemur go teni jojo teni ngaran rowen sone te son baris.
And so they all gathered together. They ate their breakfast. They drank their tea together. And then after that, the Lama said to them all, okay, that's really good. There's no need for any concern for me. After you go downstairs, close the door and leave it closed for 7 days without opening it.
Teni kimsang jambatso teni mar son baris tinani teni muschiku teni tinala teni kipa zinduze tedan teni musjambaznike tengoni lamandro ina kandi na samne ti go shilone te nyan ne te ndug baris.
The
Lama go shilone te nyan ne te ndug koni.
Ti koso kimsang kumizere koso.
Kimsang malay.
Oh, the same. Okay. But there was one member of the family, a boy, who wondered whether or not the Lama was really dying or what was happening, and so he sort of put his ear to the door to listen.
Teni Lama tambo teni Lama koranga teni ndomba te don sons.
And the Lama started out by reciting some prayers, some mantras.
Teni ngaso teni yang zukchin nyamlin chengang Lama te so yang ten depi karsa pat sone teni namshi teni drone teni ko ndenke mambo yore lama tikar se teni pat sone teni padraze gre ngaso teni kashi su she sonzi ti jini.
And many Dzogchen lamas, when they're dying, they make the sound pat as they are expelling their consciousness from their body, and so the Lama made a couple of pat sounds.
Teni ti toni teni jachi me pare songs.
And then after that, there was no sound at all.
Teni ngoni khoso go teni ta nima dun la teni jak bares.
And so they left him there for 7 days.
Teni lama tindi go teni par kinch rawan tho cha teni lama hale pasal ni meche patindi jima tindi resong. Ina ngama korang jokpa chimbo marto ni kable mangbo gya bares.
The gola yang jadi sono nang kam. Kyuk deni sunji.
Kinch rawan tho zina ko korang nam kinch rawan tho zina ko do korang.
Okay.
Shawala rawan tho ban rawo.
Okay, so the Lama had gained power over life and death. So despite the fact that he had really struggled, had much difficulty for 21 years to realize the nature of his mind, when he died in this very great way.
Teni lamati koranga lamati ngats zoba chimbo te lamati soma chola teni kutzing lamati teni namjin ti muti koranga mako sani te namjin loma jamba chola sungore onde maungbana korang go thongke rango thongke yakbo yungore sone te namjin sungore rango thongke jena kondo rango thongke jena rango rangathon
Dini di lama de dini muko dini yangya sona jigir bak
maze koranga lamazin ti lama te lamazin do ngai eko lama chong arang dor zegre ti lama aya ti koranga loma jamba chola sone tari jochim gomkeng lama jiwa ngende songji ti te korang maung bala korang yangpo yongore korang rango ranga thongken ti ri yongore sone namjin sungore
data dini dekun lama de
oh yeah den roki lama to
oh let's say so the lama that we mentioned before, the one who accused his student of thieving, previously had said of this lama that when he would die, he would gain autonomousness over his dying process.
Yena teni lomati koranga gosala koranga chorsala teni songomare de kapkyun mambo tangare namjin kapkyun mambo tangare kyoranga thongumde kyorang rigumde sone kapkyun mambo tangare.
I'm sorry. So the lama, the student. So this is the teacher who previously criticized and scolded his student a lot. He, from time to time, would say out of earshot of that student that in the future he would gain autonomousness over his dying process. However, he never said it directly to him. In his direct comments, he would only criticize and scold him.
Teni zoba chimbo ziati teni ta tindis res.
So that's what we mean by dzogchen.
Yeah, teni ngato tsama teni zoba chimbo ziati tindis hale pa tindis yore samne tsama sem ganala rewa gyap ko yores.
So everyone should really place great hopes, have great hopes in their mind for Dzogchen practice.
Teni ngato teni lama teni yakpo ragna sosola pe tapa yakpo yo teni nana Dzogchen ziate nguni tani tokores.
And if you find a really great lama and can generate really strong faith in them, then really, truly, one can realize the nature of one's mind.
Teni sheti teni soso rangam ta Dzogchen teni te ngato soso rang nyamnyung dogne ngarang semde kandizre tani teni lama la par teni ngato jirgores.
So with Dzogchen practice, we need to examine the nature of our own experience, the experience of our mind, and describe this to our teacher.
Teni te mashina ngaso lama teni ngaso la o ngaso simlan reshit jamni kyorang semdi tindiri sona teni Dzogchen ngaso yakpos teni toktok ko mares.
If, however, our teacher just directly tells us, "Oh, this is the way your mind is. That is the mind your way is," then it's difficult to realize the nature of one's mind by means of the Dzogchen teachings.
Teni yang zobaji mo ngaso tambo teni Dzogchen topi kapsa teni kashi ta ha le pasaru teni sarkyang namlang bandaw teni rendong kan yores kashi de.
Some people, at the instant that they realize the nature of the mind, they have an experience of great clarity, just like the clarity of the sky.
Teni kashite teni ta kale rimji teni tokore tambo topi kapsa hale pasaru maimba teni kale gom jap teni shinate chesar drunken teni yores.
But for other people, the process of realization is more slow and gradual. Their initial realization is not so clear, and so by means of meditation, they increase the clarity of their realization.
Teni Zochin Chenken Tini Lamati, Tini Kwarang Rang, Tini Nyamtok Yakbo, Yonken Tini Yinjing Gores.
It's really important that the teacher who is guiding a student in Dzogchen practice is one who has great realization and meditative experience themselves.
Tini Lama Kwarang Tini Shin Yakbo, Yonken Tini Gores.
And also a Lama with great power of blessing.
Tini Lama Rang La Tini Nyamtok Yakbo, Yo Nyamlin Yakbo, Nanken Tini Zigina. Tini Lama La Shin Yores, Ngasu Tini Yopatak Chajana Chokores.
And if a Lama has great meditative realization and experience, then it is certain that they will have great power of blessing.
Tani Lama Suso Rang Tini Nyamlin Yakpo Machi, Tini Suso Rang La Nyamtok Yakpo Menana, Tati Lama Yenzeata, Turki Yenzeata, Khenpo Yenzeata, Tini Mang Tini Chimboyo, Tini Kajak Chimboyo na, Tini Tonga Tola Muni Shinlupti Yopingi Payo Mares.
However, if a Lama doesn't practice themselves, if they don't have experience and realization, then even though they might have the name of Lama or Chulko or Khenpo, despite the big name they have and perhaps the great fame they have, it's not necessarily the case that they will have power of blessing.
Tini yang Lama Tini Namjin Ngaso Partana, Lama Tini Nyamchung Randa, Tini Lama Mjurwa, Pamjur yang Mecha, Tini Nyanchak yang Chakpa Mecha, Kajak Chimbo yang Menkenge, Sherdanga Chaparin Sambandao, Tinji Nangla, Tini Nyamlin Pe, Halipa Yakpo Yonkenga, Tini Nyamtok Pe Yakpo Yonkenga, Tinji Lama Halipa Mambu Yores.
But there are among humble and modest practitioners, poor, no fame in just among ordinary monks, there are many practitioners who have really excellent realization and experience.
Tinji Inti Ngasola Zopa Chimbo Tonkenga Lamata, Gawa Yohako Mare Ngaso Kaleta Gores.
So in terms of establishing which teachers, which lamas are qualified teachers of the Dzogchen, then this is something that we can't know outright. This is something that we need to slowly observe.
Shirtang Ngaso Loma Susola Tapa Yakpo Yona, Tiang Tini Panto Chimbo Yoreta, Yang Lomala Tapa Yakpo Yona, Yang Lama Latini. So even though we generally say that if a student has faith, then this will be of great benefit to their practice, if the Lama themselves doesn't have the power of blessing, then it's quite difficult for the student to attain realization. Zoba Chimbo te Suso Ranga Tini Tokta Martok Ting, also Tini Lama Latini Jini, Tini Lama Tini Saru, Zangasola Tini, or Yanat Karan den Drunduzi, Yanan Drung Munduzi, Tinis Go Remato, Natso Suso Ranga Yang, Narang Toksong Sambanda Tindina, Shik Chimbo Tini Tonate, Yapo Tini Go Remato, Timena, Natso Tambo Capsitini to Momo Pondao, or Saru High Lepa Mayimba Tindizi Nana. So
in terms of realization in the Dzogchen tradition, it's really important that we have a teacher who is able to clearly guide us, to clearly verify the stage or state of our practice, to point out where we're on the right track, where we are not on the right track. Otherwise, if we're just practicing by ourselves, then unless our realization is one that is really powerful, then it can be the case that people's realization is it might be unclear, quite unclear to begin with, or cases of people thinking that they have attained realization when in fact they haven't.
Teni Dzogchen Gombi Kaps Tini Ngaso Tama Ha Lepa Tozum Tini Shegosa Tini Chigores.
Dosum Zina?
Zabzab Shegosa.
So when doing, practicing Dzogchen meditation, it's important that we do so in a really careful way. And there are points or aspects that we really need to pay attention to.
대 강르지나 되니 값값스 가서 되니 다 릉곰 tum본다오다 된지 값스 되니 손에 되니 곰 잡니 되나 당가서 sempanala 남톡지냥 maybe 된지 고급 용거레스.
It is possible that, say, by going up high into the mountains to meditate, that we will have an opportunity where our thought activity subsides.
릉곰 토사였나 양만나 닝콜라 멤망보 메바 된지 그 살동반다오 된지 나라 손에 당가서 sempanala 강 말씀네 된지 누구나 되니 semkanala ngarang semkanala namtok chikyangmandu sambandawo tendisi yungores.
So by going to a place where there's no one around, a rather empty or isolated, a quiet place, and by bringing the mind to a state of rest, it is possible that we will find ourselves in a state of no thought.
Teni namtok chikyangmena teni ngarang ka semtiyang ngarang ka namtok mepati ngarang tatok ngarang namtok mendu sambati yang saru teni ko denken teni rezi pukona ngaso jar sungwandawo nyit sungwandawo teni marezi maimba teni ores.
And it's possible to have a really very clear awareness of this state of no thought. It's very clear. It's not at all like the state of falling asleep or falling into unconsciousness.
Teni ti kapsang aso zoba chimbo teni yigi tisola tena tana zoba chimbo yigi tisotana pena kanching hongching ramjum go teni songrao tisola tana teni sung yigi ga thola yo pa te chipa chichang rao ngarang nyamnyung go thoni teni rao yong gore se ngarang nyamnyung ti zokching kana la sung pa te yesare samba rao teni rabo teni yong gore.
And it's possible at a time like this, at a state like this, when one's thoughts have completely subsided, to think that the state that one is currently in or experiencing is exactly the same as that described in Dzogchen texts, such as the texts written by Longchenpa.
Teni Dzogpa chimbo teni tsig ngaso karsang kongla shasongwa teni Dzogpa chimbo tsig ngoma tela tsig nyonyo matoyo mares.
So as we said yesterday, the words that are used to describe the realized state in Dzogchen are very minimal indeed.
Teni tsig tiso tang drapo rawo ngarang nyamnyung go gomjamna teni rawo la ze yinsari teni rawo la somba yinsari samban rawo tiso tang drapo teni nyamnyung go thone mambo teni ngaso raktab gores.
And it's possible for us to often or have experiences, meditative experiences that seem very similar or very close to the states that are described in the words of Dzogchen texts. And in moments like this or in states like this, many people think, "Oh, I've become enlightened. I've recognized the state of my mind." But in actual fact, this isn't the realization of the Dzogchen teachings. What, in fact, is being experienced is a state of shamatha, calmness. Or rather, in terms of the essence of the mind, what is being experienced is the alaya consciousness or the storehouse consciousness. And it's quite possible, even for a person who doesn't have long-term experience with meditation, to take themselves to a quiet place and sit down and gain an experience of this nature.
Teni gumyarang jamkanzi innana teni jerne te teni yambondawo yowi kapsa tele jang teni dzogba chimbo teni yigi ge thokla yo pate tang rabu tan teni zi insari sambandawo teni jerne gumkanzi innana tele jang mambo yongres.
And then for meditators who do have quite a long experience, such as experienced practitioners of shamatha meditation, often find themselves in a state of meditative equipoise, thinking that the state they are experiencing is very similar to that described in Dzogchen texts.
Penda gomjamni tini chisut mambu gorangla chisuk sum ji nga tindi gorangla tini namtok chikang mepa ngala tini dedenken tindi yang yoris.
For example, there are people who can rest in meditation for a period of 4 to 5 hours with no conceptual activity whatsoever.
Tini ngasu zukchin kanala tini namgin tini zokpa chimboda shirab ki paruto shimba nika ngala ngasu semti tini namkan rapoyin soni namka tungan rapoyin soni mambu sungu yoris.
And in both the Dzogchen teachings, as well as in the Prajnaparamita teachings, the mind is described as like the sky.
Tani ta gomja pikaps jene ta kanji go thola yo pikaps namka tunga rawo zinan dini rapoyin sare samban rawo tindi go tsora mambu yung gores.
And so there are many people who, when they practice meditation and they're resting in a state of calm abiding, or they're abiding at the state of the level of the alaya consciousness, believe themselves to be experiencing this state.
Tani ti zochin marezi taron zochin tsawani marezi.
But this is not the realization of the great perfection. It's not this at all.
Tani ti thola tini gomni tini dedena semgana la tini ta lipo ta semta sama la tini halepa ga lopo locha lopo da tini so lipo thola tini dewa semina dewa tindi yongores.
But it's possible by abiding in this state of of meditation to gain an experience of great relaxation in both one's body and mind, and to gain a feeling of great bliss.
Tani ngaso semgana la semgana dumur ramanda yongkanda tani sim chigni ndgongkanda ta tani samonin mayongkanda ota so kortela ti phanto yores.
And in terms of people who usually experience a lot of suffering in the mind, or many sorts of delusional appearances in the mind, or have difficulty sleeping, then this state of meditation that we've just described is and can be of great benefit. However, this is in no way the realization of the basic nature of one's mind as is the focus of the Dzogchen teachings. However, there are many people who, due to a lack of experience, believe this to be the basic essence of their mind. And so there are many people who think, "Oh, I've realized the nature of my mind," or "Oh, I'm enlightened." However, the realization of the nature of one's mind is still some way away. It's they're not quite there.
Nyumumba mebala tini chichi panto yo mareze ngaso tin nala gombi kapsi nyumumba yo marda yang ngaso sher ngaso tsuwa nala yung tsarvi jini yang nyumumba tsama yores.
And regardless of how long we abide in this state of meditation, it's of no benefit to completely eliminating our afflictions. Even though there are no afflictions, we experience no afflictions while we're abiding in the state of meditation. When we return to our everyday lives, then afflictions return.
Teni karte zoba chimbo tokpa yenna na teni ngaso te zokchin gomna teni kandiz gom thamna te nyomongba chenyong
However, once we realize the basic nature of our mind, then it is possible for us to truly eliminate afflictions. The more that we meditate we practice Dzogchen meditation, the fewer our afflictions will be.
Teni te yindinge ngaso tari kongla shapanda bore teni zoba chimbo kashi 뭐 가시가 탈이 박사로 람상 되니 서로 되니 똑러고요. 데라 틴디가 때 인남만 삼비티니 똑바고 거랑라 똑바요 말에 거랑 서로 거로 그래.
And as I mentioned before, there are different kinds of people. There are some people for whom their realization is immediate and is extremely clear. For people like this, there's no doubt about their realization.
되니 미 가시라 되니 당보 토픽 값스 되니 하장 서로 마인 바다고 되니 똑거래. 되니 름지야 제서 되니 로거래. 되니 그 되니 누구세 밀라 똑바친 뭐 똑설라 되니 캬버요래.
And then there are others whose initial realization is not so clear. And so for these people, it's necessary for them to gradually refine their realization such that it becomes increasingly clear. So there are different kinds of people and people who realize in different ways.
되니 딘디 인딩 아서 되니 적신데 수소랑 그냠린 지니 곰 담보 적신 라마 금드니 년 되니 곰 되니 양 라미 금단 란도니 양당 양다 수소 냠뇽데 파라라마라 지니 되니 제타 마레 되니 제당다고 가서 이게 제딱 땅땅다고 되니 양니 양데 되니 셰고 그래서
So it is really necessary that one finds a Dzogchen teacher, receives their teachings, and then goes away and meditates on their instructions, and then comes back to them time and time again to report on their meditative experience, to describe and tell them about the state of one's meditative experience. This process of verification is just like proofreading a text or proofreading an article.
어떤지 인디티니 가서 적신 그 값을 아니 적신 가서라 적신 손큰 것들이 라마 냠뇽 잔들이 약보 가서 되니 답바 약보 고니 템바데 되니 백가침 보난 치주데 데레스.
So the really main, the one of the most important points, or the most important point of Dzogchen practice, is that we find a teacher, a Dzogchen teacher of great experience, in whom we can generate strong faith and rely on them.
되니 가서 심티 되니 베나 골록다버스 양송즈 고도와 틴자 보리 틸라 름바 망보 빡틴디 시지어레스.
Our minds are like an onion, and so we need to know how to peel off the different layers.
딘디 인디 되니 가서 냠뇽 약보 멘켄즈 있나 되니 적신 할리바 야침보 식침보 동다데 경고 말다 디 갈리 고름 림지 동켄 되지 있나 냠뇽 약보 용hen 같더니 라마 딘지서 가서 메나 땡아서 적바침보데 감지지 하고 데스 캄보레스.
So for Dzogchen practice, if the practitioner is someone who gains realization straight away, then it's maybe not so of such importance. But for people for whose realization comes along more gradually, then without relying on an experienced teacher for guidance, then it's very difficult for them to gain realization.
되니 кар팅 아주 적신데 약보즈 시티니 똑소나 셰럽기 바로 또 심바가나라 셰피 동반이당 되니 가서 벤다 길라마다 테소나라 som비 데샥냥보당 되니 따테소 창마티니 디수 찍고 돌아 창마 똑바레지 텔레 잠바 똑지지지요 말에 테소 창마티니 냠뇽고 똑송바레지 적신 똑소나.
So if we are able to recognize the basic nature of our mind according to the Dzogchen teachings, then in the very instant that we do so, the emptiness of the Prajnaparamita teachings or the Buddha nature of the Uttara Tantra, in the very instant that we gain realization, we realize all of these things.
되니 적신 똑사위 진이 따롱가서 문터도 굼고 그래서.
But after attaining realization, it's important that we continue to meditate.
되니 문터니 약보즈 굼탑나 되니 다 랍 신디 돌아 상제제 되니 가서 신디 돌아다 굼바 양 딱바 굼탐근서 신디 돌아 상제 그래서.
And if we're able to continue to meditate well, then it is possible in the best case scenario to attain the state of Buddhahood in this very lifetime.
Tani shivika tani mrang tani pardola tani sanjezi tani zegres.
And for a middling practitioner, it is said that it's possible to achieve Buddhahood in the Bardo state.
Tani zoba chimbo nyamlimpe yakpo yongken tsona gumni tani li sendi tola jali tani tani lipon to chikyam mepare ni tani rendong ke yoreze. Chadang semu nikata lakareze. Tani ma to jamba tsama mepare ni tani rongken tani mambo yoreze ngaso nyangma the logi tola pe tani mambo shung yoreze.
And for practitioners, excellent practitioners of Dzogchen meditation, it is possible at the time of their death that their physical bodies completely dissipate. There are cases of practitioners whose bodies essentially dissipate into light. They attain what is called the rainbow body, and in the history of the Nyingma tradition, there are many practitioners who attained this state.
Tani dzogchen tani tokpi sherp ti topki tani ngaso lite tani mepa jene tani to mepa shini zat ne tani martsawani mepa tani 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 rendo yorese tani jalis tangwase.
So in cases where a practitioner attains the rainbow body, this is through the power of the wisdom of realization that their physical body dissipates into nothingness.
Pena shang menang la tani takbanda wari dzogchen ke tani tokpi sherp ti meta wari ti ngaso lipo te mepa shini par sanji ge yishi sanji ke la tani girk reze ngaso lipo te mepa shini.
So it's just like fire burning in wood. The wisdom of realization is essentially is an igniting force that enables the physical body to be transformed into the Buddha, the body of a Buddha. But this is in cases of absolutely first-rate practitioners.
Tani nipate tani lipo chong rendo yorese chong pena moli lipo chepo tani moschita karma jache tani yongken tani kopo chempo tani inaya tani nde sawi jini chong tani ta zhgang rawo tani mato menken tani rendo yorese zipo chong chane.
And the next best result is when the body shrinks after death to a very, very small size. So there are cases of people who are as tall as 1.8 meters after their death, shrinking to the size of just the length between the top of one's hand and one's elbow.
Tani tinji te ngaso lo ngatik tubden tini zika nangla tini lama mambo shong ze ngaso te serta da te so payir te la.
And in the past 5 or 10 years in Seta County, there have been many lamas who have attained this state.
Tani kashite tani kali jeshong la tani shongmena tani kali tani menang la tani chapi nerkap tani sama rangshir tani tamata tani rendo yores.
And then there are cases of practitioners whose bodies might not shrink, but when they are cremated after their deaths, they leave behind many pearl-like relics.
Tani tendi lama pe mambo tani ndoze te ngarang so tani chutruk so nala tani mambo shongze.
And there are many lamas who have died like this. Even among my own Dharma friends, there are people who have passed away with these phenomena.
Tani ngarang di Amerika mayong wi ngonti dawa singdaw tani nimani singdaw tani nala lama gargi tani ndesong e khorang ka tani kuli sama tani rangtir tani ngaso njamra tani halipa yamsen tani rendugus.
Just 1 month or 20 days before I came to America, there was a very old Lama in my area who passed away, and the relics that he left behind were of many different kinds, really extraordinary relics.
Teni teso nala te kali teni cheshong lan jongken roa tela ngaso teni jawi thola choso tata inchi nala yo mishipe na jai nala o te mare te zambare zine teni lamkin yores.
This phenomenon of the body shrinking in the post-death state, I'm not sure whether or not you can find this on the internet in English, but in Chinese language there are sites where people claim that this phenomenon is fake.
Teni te kandi rezina teni lama ndepi kapsa teni lakpa chat kangba chat teni chat ni chong chini teni chego yores teni sayos nlabi yores te ye nala.
And what these people claim is that this small body is achieved by cutting off the limbs of the body of the Lama after he has died and pressing or compounding him into a small size.
Teni te ngaso teni lama nde sari jis teni lama kali ta te so teni dakpo jam kan to so sama lama korang ka loma yakshu te so res te kasakawa yan rapo res.
But in actual fact, those students or disciples who care for a Lama after his death are always the Lama's best, closest disciples. This is the case everywhere.
Teni lama yakpo te so tamchi pola korang so loma te so sem ganala te lama jali jena chok mare na chok korang sanjin rapo korang samala tapa yore sanjin woman rapo korang so tsi yore.
And these really excellent disciples of excellent teachers, regardless of whether or not their teacher attains the rainbow body or not, they all regard their Lama as the Buddha himself, a real Buddha.
Teni indi koso teni lama nde service lami kali teni lama teni chapa teni che kala che da koso sem gnala ten trikamare mulum gnala yongumare teni.
Therefore, it's utterly inconceivable that such students would, after their teacher's death, go and chop off their limbs. This thought wouldn't even occur to them. They wouldn't even dream it in their wildest dreams. So these claims are nothing more than slanderous comments. It's not true.
Lama chongchong kali chongchong matokpa menken ke rapper.
And I also have pictures of cases of lamas who have whose bodies have shrunk to really small sizes. I thought that I'd actually like to show some of these pictures to you today, but it seems that we don't have the necessary equipment to do so, so I won't be able to. In 2016, there was a really tall Lama who just shrunk to the size of about 1 cubit.
Oka sachala tindi mambu yongore tini samaga te halipa au tini yamsambo halipa rao tindi tso mari sama o yakpo rendu zian rao matokpa tini halipa yamsan tindi tso mares.
And in Tibet, in fact, there are so many cases of lamas whose bodies shrink like this that it's not as if everyone says, "Oh man, that's so extraordinary." I mean, most people think, "Oh, you know, that's good," but they regard it as a fairly normal occurrence. Not only have there been many cases of this in the history of Tibet, but also now there are still many occurrences. There are occurrences in monasteries all over Tibet. And it's possible that you too, by practicing Dzogchen meditation well, will shrink to a really small size. So if we are able to accomplish this in one lifetime, then this is the best kind of result. And the second best result is to achieve Buddhahood in the Bardo state. So there is a lot of Dzogchen practices that are to be performed during the Bardo state.
Tani karti sinda ta parto nikala tani sangji ji tani mathvna tani nga so kiwa shima ga nangla tani yana lo chonga yin bikap ta yana lo ni shitsanga yin bikaps tani korang yindamda tani zokba chimbo tang zokba chimbo gu chudang tani chakres tani tem chadni korang nyamlin ji ni tani kiwa shima ga nangla yindamda korang sangji gres.
And for practitioners who do not achieve Buddhahood in this lifetime or during the Bardo state, then it is said that in the next lifetime, during either at the age of 15 or 25, at quite a young age, one will necessarily encounter the Dzogchen teachings again, and by practicing the Dzogchen teachings in that lifetime will achieve Buddhahood.
대 조바침볼 대 마임비 가서 싫던 거 상학 되니 강 있나요? 아주 상가 왕약보 되니 톱 되니 왕갑 그 담식 대 상학 돈바 담식 대 약보 송고 그래 담식 대 약보 송이 되나 가르티 냠린지 마튼 나양 되니 가서 기와 지득 지득스나 공도와 다리 그 기와 대 지지 되니 기와 니파다 기와 심마다 지지 되니 니 숨저 가득스니 기와 지득 순출라 되니 yindamda sangje gereze kati kyorang gum gyabni nyamni chimboshi matanayo disenchola tini kyorang ga wang top tini tamsik ti manyimba tini yakbo chena disenchola yindamda sangje gereze.
So that's the case for the for Dzogchen practice, but for any of the other Vajrayana practices, so long as you receive an empowerment properly and then guard your samaya, regardless of whether you actually do practice these teachings. It is said that within the next 16 lifetimes, you will necessarily achieve Buddhahood. So this doesn't hinge on practicing necessarily these practices. Simply by receiving the empowerment and guarding one's samaya properly, one can achieve Buddhahood in 16 lifetimes.
Tindi indi tini ngacho sangak tini ngacho 네 담식 때서 약보 소중 제니 되니 남긴 소소 잡잡 지야데 베카침 보레스.
So it's important that we study the tantric vows properly and uphold them carefully too.
되니 카르테가 저 상학 담식 되니 데 상학 동바 냠바다 되니 쇼소나 되니 도르지 셈파 되니 돈 어때 도르지 셈파 냠닌 제니 되니 샥바 약보치나 양 경금아레 되니 양 약보렌로 그레스.
And if we find ourselves breaking our tantric vows, then this is okay. We should do Vajrasattva practice, confess our wrongdoing, and purify our vows in this way, and then continue.
tenri indi ta nga so teni wang yakpoz je teni namgin nga so jini chok go ni nyamni yakpoz je na teni sosola tapa yakpoyo na teni tsindi thola yang teni sosola nyam tang tokpa so yakpo yungres.
So by receiving empowerments properly and doing one's best to practice and giving rise to strong faith, then in this lifetime you will gain realization and experience.
어떻게 안치티 teni nga so nyangtam nyang kathile teni ta ndo teni ndordi teni tsamala teni ta chet teni sum teni chet ta zimbares.
So that is everything up to, we've now finished the teaching on the Heartdrop of Heart Advice. Our teaching on this text has come to a conclusion.
Teni nga so tari kapse na ya nga so di korta tsama jongjin rapo shongo rama tokpa teni jipcha teni yang shatwa mares.
So during these 3 days of teachings, what I have given is an overall teaching on this text by setting out a structure. We haven't gone into the details of practice or anything like this.
So we'll do the dedications on the booklet. So it's page 5.
Salalam ye yonai razoni Dorje jangal goma nyerto Nogo jakwar kwawo chirtaran jembata Kunda zambo te ante gente Eda gunye jisa daloge Gewa jata tamche ratongo Tu soy Jobi Jarwa Tamjeji Ngoa Kamlan Chodo Ngapandi Doge Givi Tawan Dekonya Zombo Joje Radu Ngowar Perje